the hell keeps taking my stuff? Victor! Don't look at the camera! Ah, such an amateur. Oh great, it's all covered in drool. Greetings everyone, and welcome to Kaiju Movie Review. So, I don't really want to say a lot before we get into the film, because I really want to get into the review and discuss some key points about the movie. So without further ado, I give you Gamera vs. Jiger, or more commonly known in the United States as Gamera vs. Monster X, released by Titan Productions and American International. So, the movie starts out with a young boy named Hitomi, and he wants to go to this expo, the 1970 Science Expo in Osaka, Japan, which he just happens to live in. And his dad's working on a project for a little submarine. This is just kind of like for kids to play around in and stuff.
Why have a submarine that doesn't dive down far?
I can explain. Only give me a hand, son. I want you to open the hatch.
Okay.
This submarine is made for Expo Land. It'll only go down just a little, because it'll just be used for children. So my job is to limit the controls for everyone's safety.
And he gets his sister's boyfriend works there, and he gets a ride from him to go. And this guy discusses with him about all the exhibits they're gonna have, all the neat fancy stuff for the kids and the other people to check out. And he talks about a statue they're bringing in that they found on some island and near the equator in the Pacific Ocean. They don't know anything about it. They don't know the origins really. It's been there forever, and that's all they really know about. Like, they don't know the purpose of it, anything. So they're sending a team to get this statue and bring it to the expo. Cut to this island. There's a scientist and his two little kids there, and they're trying to by chopper lift this statue, or several helicopters lift this statue out. It's a huge statue. I mean, it's got like almost its entire it's this great deal. It's above the ground, and almost another exact same length that was above the ground, stuck into the ground. And they start they pull it up and start pulling it up, and Gamera shows up. And the kids are like, yes, Gamera, sweet. They start like freaking out, going on sugar crazes and shit. And so the men there, like the workers and the adults, are like, what's he doing here? This doesn't make sense. Is he going to attack us? What do we do? And the kids are like, oh, he's just here to protect this from nothing, because nothing's happening. At least they don't think so. And he starts flying around. He's flying really close to the workers, and they're like, what do we do? We can't do anything. He's flying really close. I mean, he could hurt us or kill us or anything. And so the dude in charge is like, just keep going about what you're doing, just do your job and don't worry about it. Well, he lands, near them, but kind of away, so like they're like the choppers, they're like, go, just pull the statue and go. And they start pulling up and they start taking off. And Gamera grabs the statue.
Notify the ship.
Right. Nankai Maru, prepare for loading. We finished almost an hour ahead of schedule.
Of course, everybody's like, oh, he's trying to attack us or stop us, so they open fire on Gamera. He lets go of the statue, or I guess reaction, getting shot. I imagine I would do the same thing, or whatever. But anyway, so he lets go of the statue, and kind of, they go off with the statue to a frigate, and they deposit it on there. Everybody else on the island leaves because Gamera's there. They're like, we got to get the hell out of here, because the adults think he's going to kill him. Everybody thinks he's going to kill everybody. But as they're getting ready to lower the statue on the frigate out and away from the island, they hear like a whistling sound. Like, where's that coming from? It's like, our equipment's fine. It doesn't make sense. Where's it coming from? Like, well, don't worry about it. Just lower it on and we'll go. They get it on. They take off, and after they leave, and there's a quake on the island after they take off, or like a small tremor, and the monster Jiger appears, and you know, waddles around for a little bit, gets a drink. You know, I've probably been sleeping for a really long time, and he's thirsty. Gamera shows up, and he's like, I'm gonna kick his ass, you know, because that's what he does. And you know, Gamera gets his ass kicked very quickly. She shoots these harpoons, or these bone spikes into its arms and legs so it can't pull itself in and fly. Which kind of makes me wonder about something, and we'll discuss this later when we actually talk about the monsters in depth. Jiger takes off after the boat, presumably after the statue, for whatever reason. They get the statue to Osaka, but after they unload it and start taking it to the expo, Jiger shows up right after that. You know, kills a bunch of people, starts laying waste to Osaka, you know, trying to get to the statue, blowing a bunch of stuff up, leveling countless, you know, city blocks and miles, killing hundreds of thousands of people, so on and so forth. Well, it's good, you know, you get right into the action with this movie. It's a little delay, but it's not, you know, it's not really bad. It's not destroy all planets. But then Gamera shows up after, you know, it gets free from, you know, knocks the bone spurs out, whatever, and like, you know, I'm gonna kick his ass again, you know. Goes after him, starts fighting him, or her, and Jiger, during the battle, takes its tail, gets this stinger, you know, comes out of its tail, and stabs, you know, Gamera like right here in the shoulder, like between the, you know, the neck and the shoulder. Gamera starts, you know, walking around really woozy, starts making his way towards the water, but he hits the water like face first, or almost face first, like on his hands, and then, you know, his skin starts going like, you know, really white or clear and opaque, you know, losing all color, and then, you know, his face starts going, and he just like face first in the water. Then nobody knows what happened. They're like, you know, he's presumably dead, you know, because that's what he looks like. I would imagine he was dead. We find out that the statue is called the Devil's Whistle. Islanders made it long ago, however long ago, hollowed out the middle of it and poured sacrificial blood. There's no real relevance, they just bring it up, it's not important to the story. But that, you know, that's where that whistling sound was coming from when they were, you know, they were moving along in the boat, and it keeps making that whistling sound, but then people start getting sick from it. They don't know if the statue's cursed, poison, but they find out it's not poison or a curse. It's the actual sound of the whistle nature of the statue. A prolonged exposure makes people ill. You know, I guess I would imagine that would drive me nuts after a while too. But so you pretty much are at that point where Jiger's running amok. He's just blowing everything up. Gamera's down and out pretty much. Humans don't know what to do. They don't got nothing. There's no like grand scheme to get rid of Jiger. They don't know what to do. So that's where we're going to cut it. And you know, if you want the rest of it, again, I don't like spoiling everything, especially not endings. Watch the rest of the film if you really want to. But we'll cover more on that later.